Hi, everybody. My name is Marketa Houskova. I am the Executive Director of American Nurses Association California, and I'm joined today by Roxanne Gould, our ANAC contracted lobbyist. And so we're going to give you a quick legislative update where we are in the session, what's going on in Sacramento, and what's going on in the politics. So Roxanne, what's new and exciting?
Well, things are heating up in general. Things are heating up with wildfires, and things are heating up in the state capitol. And as you know, we're in the first year of a two-year session, and so bills and policy have been the key priority of the legislature until recently, and they've really been zeroing in on a budget. We think they're close. I'm pretty certain they are at the finish line, hopefully, but there are so many things happening around the outside of the budget. Some of the policy areas that we have been following and that will continue to start to pick up steam are in the area of mental health care for kids, for everyone, but healthcare workers in particular, as well as COVID-focused legislation, obviously wildfire legislation. Homelessness continues to be a huge issue, but there's not a lot of focus legislatively, interestingly enough. And so those will come back to the front burner. But for now, they're focusing on getting the budget done and heading out for summer break on July 15th. So they'll be gone in theory for a month, and in many cases to go back to the district to get in touch with the constituents and find out what the constituents have to say about what's happening in Sacramento.
And so also, what is happening with California budget?
Well, depending on who you're talking to, I think the governor thought there was something like a $76 billion surplus. I believe the legislative analyst office thought it was closer to 35 or 40 billion. But however you slice it, there's more money than anyone ever anticipated. And so it's just trying to figure out how to cut that bigger pie up and to also not commit to ongoing funds. So if there's not a surplus next year and you have an ongoing expense, you're going to be just setting yourself up for budget failure and going into an undesirable deficit for sure.
So is the California Legislature, are they still focused also on COVID response and resources?
Yes, absolutely. It seems as if things are advancing, that they're doing a better job in terms of getting numbers up of vaccinated folks, of educating people as to the benefits of getting vaccinated, whichever vaccine it is you choose. It seems as if the Department of Public Health and others are not feeling quite as chaotic, or I guess maybe even panicked, because it's a pandemic and very scary situation. I think they're starting to get their arms around it and starting to feel as if it's becoming more manageable for them. Of course, the only caveat to that is this variant that people are concerned about. They don't know if it's going to pick up steam or not, and if it does, it could set us back. LA, for example, just changed from, the state opened up on the 15th to say you're vaccinated, don't have to wear masks, indoor or outdoors. Los Angeles is very concerned about this variant, and they have now recommended you wear masks indoors.
Right.
So where the trend goes is going to determine how government responds and what type of requirements are imposed on citizens.
Right. And also, I know you already kind of touched a little bit on the wildfires, but I know we just talked about it, that there's some kind of development that, wasn't it that Governor Newsom promised specific wildfire protections or spending?
Right. That's sort of what I was alluding to about things heating up outside and inside the Capitol. The governor, governors, when they are first, approaching a serious situation, they more or less promise the world, I'm going to get ahead of this. I'm going to fix this. For example, his State of the State a year and a half ago was, I'm going to solve the homelessness problem in California. We can do this. Well, last I checked, it's not fixed, and it's not easy for sure. But he promised the moon and the stars with regard to wildfire preparedness, saying the Californians deserve better. We need to do more to make sure we don't go through those horrific fires that we did. And some unbiased third-party analysts have looked at what the governor promised and looked at what he has not accomplished, and he has not made many strides or inroads. And Democrats and Republicans are furious with him. I think they're also fearful for what the upcoming fire season is going to bring. And they just turned down a major wildfire preparedness package that the governor was proposing, because I think they feel that they want to, take those reins in their own hands and actually accomplish what they feel should have been accomplished by now. And so it's been pretty heated in the Capitol.
And speaking about fun politics with Governor Newsom, didn't you just tell me that we just got an update and alarm on our news media that the governor is suing the state election chief? Why is he doing that?
Yes, like, what is it, Lucy? You got some explaining to do. Turns out the governor's attorney, when he filed paperwork on behalf of the governor, neglected to list the governor as a Democrat. And the governor is, he's fighting hard against the recall effort, blaming it on, conspiracy theory and attack by the Republicans. And if he doesn't have a Democrat next to his name, it may feel as if you're under a rock if you don't know he's a Democrat, but there are a lot of people that don't live for politics the way we do. And they may not know for sure that he's a Democrat. And if he doesn't have that listed next to his name, the governor, I believe, is fearful that that could impact his, success or failure in the recall effort. And so, add to that, as a result, as you mentioned, he went to the Secretary of State and asked for her, and he handpicked her and put her in that spot. That was not an elected position. It was appointed at this point because she was filling a vacancy. He handpicked her. He went to her and asked her to fix the mistake his attorney made. And she said, no,
cannot do it.
So as a result, he is suing the Secretary of State to try to get that designation placed next to his name on the ballot.
Wow. And so, we are kind of moving towards holiday weekend. And so, didn't you also tell me that even though Monday is, many people, not nurses, but many people in office buildings, they will have Monday after the July 4th, they will have Monday off, but then the legislature, did they decide to stay in on Friday, but no, take off Friday and coming on Monday?
I think the governor's attorney might have been involved in this debacle too. Not really though, but someone who is going to be in as much trouble potentially as the governor's attorney decided to call Friday a holiday, and they have committee hearings on Monday. And so I don't know to the extent that all Capitol workers are going to have to work on Monday, but certainly people that work in politics are going to have to be keeping our eye on the activities to make sure things don't slip through the cracks. So yes, the rest of the nation will be taking Monday off and not in Sacramento.
Yeah. It's just so much fun. Also, I know that there were some developments on a couple of the bills that we are following, and especially one of them is AB 852, if I remember correctly. And that's the bill that is again from Assemblyman Jim Wood, and he's trying to clean up some of the language from AB 890. And so recently it became clear that it became a 2-year bill. So what does it mean for us?
Well, I think it could be glass half full. It gives us more time to educate members. What it means is the bill isn't dead, but the bill also isn't advancing in 2021. And so I think it's an opportunity for us to maybe activate you as ANAC members to get in touch with your elected officials. We can give you bullet points. We can tell you, what the benefits of that bill are, or what some of the subtleties or, innuendos that might be raised in a conversation with your elected officials or their staff. But it gives us a chance to educate folks. It's not our preference. We'd rather a bill that we're supporting pass, get signed, done, it's law, but it's not dead. And so the window is still open, and we have a chance to influence the outcome.
And another bill that is a 2-year bill is AB 285, and that is the bill focused on establishing the school nurse consultant position at the California Department of Education. So there is also a 2-year bill.
Right, exactly. And that one, I don't know that we saw that coming. It didn't seem as if it was really an uphill battle. And so I think we just have to do some background and research and figure out what was the hurdle that someone saw that they slowed the bill down, but it's still not dead. So it's still an opportunity for us.
And so there was a bill SB 380, and that's the end of life act, end of life care bill, but that passed, right? That passed through the House of Origins, which is the Senate. And now it is in the second house, right? It's in assembly right now. And I think it already had first hearing and it passed through. So that's a good thing. Any other bills that are really, there is like 95 bills we are following, but there are the 5 priority bills that we usually kind of talk to you about throughout our ledge updates. Another bill, and that's the I think Assembly Bill 406. What was the e-compact bill or 410 Assembly Bill 410, and but there is also a 2-year bill. Right.
And it's very typical for bills that the legislature can't figure out what they want to do with it. It's very typical for them to tap the brakes and just give everybody some time to dig in a little deeper and review the policy behind what is being proposed. Some bills that aren't bills we are following, but that have been also interesting and heating up the Capitol is in light of the governor's recall. You know, the governor's staff and the governor seem to be of the mind that the sooner they have the recall, the more likely he is to,
not be recalled.
Not be recalled, exactly. And so, I mean, that I'm sure that did come into play somewhat with opening up the state on the 15th, giving people a sense of normalcy. And I think it's pretty common attitude that if we get back to normal and we're not struggling and suffering, we're not going to be ticked off and go to the ballot and vote him out. It's like, my life's doing okay right now, so keep it up, Governor. But the backstory is the legislature passed a few bills, I think 2 or 3 years ago, just doing a great deal of overhaul of the recall laws. Those laws don't seem to be in sync with what the governor wants to do, and so they have just swiftly sent through bills undoing what they did a couple of years ago, exclusively, the cynical mind thinks, to help the governor get his recall election sooner rather than later, to help him fend off that fight.
I think that we have motion sensors here, so we're kind of out of light. But I think that this ends our latest ledge update. So as Roxanne mentioned, the legislature they will go on their summer break, second week of July, and they will be coming back second week of August
16th, I believe.
August 16th. So when they come back, we should definitely know what is going on, what bills were passed, what bills were vetoed. So they will have, I think, last 2 weeks in August to continue with committee hearings and then do the floor votes. And then we will be updating you on what bills made it to the governor and what's going to be happening. So that should be like mid of September. So until then, we wish you a wonderful summer. Take good care of yourselves, take good care of your loved ones, and enjoy the summer. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you, Marketa.
Bye.